Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Manga Bumps podcast. This week, we're going to be rambling about nothing in particular. We've gotten into a lot of detail about manga in the past, but this week, we're just going to be talking about whatever comes to mind. Just because. Here we go. Alright, everyone, welcome back. Rinshan, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Yeah, well, welcome back. Some of you will be disappointed because we're not getting into detail for some particular manga today. But excuse us, we
Yeah, we were trying to come up with something to talk about today, something to be go deep into depth with. I thought about Homunculus, because I remember I had fond memories of that, but it was just too graphic, and I just really don't want to go into it. There were so many parts I had to skip through, and we thought about some other manga too, but at the end of the day, we decided, you know what, we need a little break. We need a little break from going into manga super deep, and why don't we just hang out, chat, and talk about whatever comes to mind this
yeah,
week.
you had us last week. You had us crying over
Well,
Kurosawa. We got,
you had me crying over Kurosawa.
yeah, you got every fucking detail of Kurosawa. Just excuse us one day. I know it's not gonna be popular, but next week it's gonna get better. We decided to stay consistent. I mean, um, calling off the podcast when we're consistent for 5 weeks, it it
Yeah,
it would just feel wrong.
we just couldn't
Um,
do that. Yeah, we tried to come up with some topic for this week, but we don't have one, so we're just gonna talk. And, I mean, that should be fun anyway, because we have stuff to talk about. We were talking a little bit before this, and we've got stuff to say. So,
yeah. I even suggested like 20 minutes ago to just start a podcast because we already went rambling about video games we like. Um,
well,
I
and,
suggest
other stuff, other stuff that might be more interesting.
Yeah,
um,
I suggested Usogui.
yeah,
Um, but the problem with Usogui is that it's
500
500.
chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't really just gloss over fucking 500 chapters. Um, I suggested it because I liked it myself. It's interesting. But after I sent the link to Sonic, I looked at it and I was like, dude, this is too long.
this is
Like
just
you
impossible. Yeah, no,
yeah,
I went in with the mindset of wow, I'm gonna have to read as much of this as I can. So I just skimmed through it as quickly as I could, and I didn't get any of it. And I was just I tried to look out for the mind games and stuff, but I don't know. It has to get better at some point, right? Usoguri, Light Eater. I mean,
it's
uh,
definitely good. But the real problem is, as we said, it's 500 chapters. I had trouble reading Kazuya Headboard last week.
yeah.
How do you get to 500 chapters? Um, Sorry, guys, but I gotta say some nice things about Usogui.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
because
like,
a lot of
yeah,
people listening to this may not have read it, you know. So it would be good to just give explain to us why you like it so much.
all right. Um, you, it's not a very famous manga in any way, but Usogui, it's very smart in a similar way like Death Note. Um,
Mm,
it's the mind games are very very good. The art style is a little bit weird to be honest,
Mhm.
because the artist is like tracing actual like photos, so it is a little bit weird. But um, the mind games are actually very fun to read and to think about, um, and uh, I would say it goes too deep into the connection with the main, like with the protagonist and with the main rival. It gets too a little bit too ridiculous in a way. Um,
Mm.
but it's still worth like reading. Even if it's 500 chapters, it's worth reading. And King Worm, we are talking about Usogui or the Lie Eater,
Yeah, Usogui. It's yeah,
which is
it's a manga
similar.
I've heard about. You know, I've heard a lot about. It's very similar to Akagi and Kaiji and other Fukumoto works. As a matter of fact, I like I read some interviews and like he was saying like he looked to inspiration from Fukumoto in order to write it. It's gambling, but it's not just gambling. There's also like this entire like organization that runs the gambles. So his intention behind like creating this organization, from what I've read, is like because in normal gambling series, it's kind of like why doesn't Akagi just freaking like pull out a gun and shoot Washizu like when he loses or something like that, like he always had like that doubt in his mind of like why does he have to freaking like own up to like this gamble if he lost. He created like this like organization around the gamble in order to facilitate like making sure that like the punishments of the gamble were carried out, um something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, but Usugoi is still good. It just gets ridiculous at some points. Like Akagi, I understand the way he outsmarted his opponent. Kaiji, I understand how he got like through the mind game, but in Usogui it does get a little bit ridiculous from time to time. But it's still worth reading, definitely. If you have time to read 500 chapters, I recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, I have to assume it must be good if you're gushing about it this much. Yeah, and I mean, I gotta say, like the parts that I read, like didn't impress me that much, but I have to assume it gets better. Like it is like a pretty well received manga. It has a pretty high score on Manga Deck, so I guess I'm sure I just didn't read enough of it to really get it. Um,
It has a good like base story between the protagonist and the main rival. If you read it, yeah, it makes sense after some time. But after all these like years reading it, I'm like, actually, it's kind of ridiculous. But um, but it is good. It is like it's still better than 90% stuff you will find on manga decks. It's still good. Just
wow, that's high
give it a
praise.
try.
That's really high praise.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like a little bit like convoluted. Like the author goes into like these details which he really doesn't need to. Like he
Okay.
doesn't need to go into so much detail, but he does, and you're like, okay,
Detail
okay.
about like the gambles or about like the world.
About the stories about the two main characters, how
Oh,
they.
kind of like their backstory and stuff.
Yeah, it's like okay, I know it's a cool story, but you don't need to tell me, fucking, you don't need to come up with these stories where they're like connected by destiny or something. Like
Mm.
it's just like it's just like at some point you come and say, you know what, like just chill, don't.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that must be a little, I mean, it's a long read, so you get to those parts and you're like, oh, I just want to get to the next gamble. But I don't know, it probably also adds a little bit of like, like a little bit of like world building and character development, and kind of like adds like kind of makes you feel like the world is a little bit more alive, and that the characters are like more living people. It honestly, that is something that I wish we got from Akagi or Kaiji, is like kind of figuring out like where they came from, like how they grew up. That would be interesting to find out, wouldn't it? Like if to hear about like the way that Akagi grew up, how he became like this, like all this stuff.
Uh,
Or was it better that like he's just so enigmatic that we don't really ever find out much about him, except that he like is so smart that like he can't relate to people, or and just that like that's his, like he's kind of like a like an amalgamation of that kind of character. Is that better?
I would like to hear some backstory about Kaiji,
Yeah.
um, because he's like more like based in like real life. Uh, Akagi not because what's the backstory like? He's an orphan. He had this like chicken game. He's trying to escape the police. He's a genius. He wins at every fucking game. That's all I need for Akagi.
Mm.
Kaiji, just a little bit like Kurosawa. I wish in Kaiji that we would see a little bit of Kaiji's, like just see him like in school or fail at school or something like that.
And I mean, we do get little glimpses of that. We hear from his mom that like what he would always wait until the very end of summer vacation to do his homework or something like that, and he would just kind of like goof off in class and stuff. I guess he's supposed to just kind of like be the like the everyman, just like he's just supposed to be like one of the boys, like just one out of many people like him or something like that, which is kind of like what makes him more relatable almost.
Yeah, I
At his
mean, there's nothing.
foundation.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Kaiji itself. The story works definitely. I mean, I just wish a little bit. Let's say something like in Kurosawa. In Kurosawa, you see the way he was. Basically, he had nothing. He was a teenager. Like girls ignored him. He had no brain. Just a
Mhm.
little bit of that in Kaiji, just to show us that um, how he got to the point where he was unemployed and he got to these like uh, co-signing a debt with
Yeah, what was up with that? Where did he meet Furuhata?
yeah, some a little bit of backstory in Kaiji. I wish, but it still works. I mean,
It does
I
work.
don't.
It works very well, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess Fukumoto is just not very concerned with those kinds of like backstories, because he understands that like the reason that people are reading his manga is for like the gambling and the mind games and stuff like that. There were like backstories in some of his earlier works, like I remember one from Tenma where we got a very deep dive into the backstory of a character that appears in one chapter, and like he had like this tragic accident, like where he was like floating down the river, and like someone from his town saved him, and ever since then he's known that like Dai Sushi is his like the hand that he wins, because like I don't even remember why, like something to do with wins at that moment or something. uh but like I don't know, uh, like he definitely did try it at points in his career. It's just interesting that he stopped doing it, and it makes me wonder why. um
Um. Yeah. Kaiji is. We talked about Kaiji for 4 episodes.
Yeah, now we're continuing to talk about kaiju. Okay. Um,
Uh,
yeah, we should probably not, and we really shouldn't, because we've talked about kaiju so much that there's like no point in continuing anymore. So,
okay, so you want to say something about Mukobuchi?
oh well, I don't know. Well, okay, I want to say something about a couple things. Mukobushi is one of them. Also, one outs. Uh, also. I don't know, like yeah, no Mark Bakuhaito or something. Uh, yeah, I don't know. There's just a bunch of like little random series that I like that I just wanted to talk about a little bit.
Is
Um,
your avatar based on something from Mokobucha? I'm
yes,
not sure.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, we can talk about that. Yeah, my avatar is Mizuhara Yuta. And he appears in the very first three chapters of Mukobuchi. He's the guy who like wins the King of Tiles Cup. Like or what's his name, Yasunaga. Hits him with a like closed chinitsu, and but the guy to his right like head bumps him with an ipeiko only and saves his ass. And then after that, he realizes like, oh, I'm not actually that good at mahjong. I got saved there, you know. And then he goes like on this big like the thing about Mukobuchi is that like the memorable characters, there's a lot of memorable characters, but they only show up every now and again. Like I think the Mizuhara Yuta, the character, my avatar, he only appears like in maybe like 20 chapters out of like the 400 chapters of the series or something like that. But he does keep coming back, and he's almost like the sleeper protagonist of the series in a way because like well Kai is like this enigmatic like just like almost Akagi type character, but more so where he just like we know nothing about him, but he always finds a way to just like find the perfect way to take his opponent's play style and just turn it against them magnificently. Just like whatever they do, he will do it better than them and just like turn around on them. Yuta is like almost like a typical protagonist, almost. He's like he sees Kai and he knows that Kai is really good and he wants to learn how Kai plays, and so he makes it his life's mission to like over the course of the series, like every time we get a glimpse of him, he's made a little bit further progress over the course of his mission. And when he first appears in the start of the series, like he has short hair, and then the next time we see him, it gets a little longer, and then eventually he kind of like grows it out into the ponytail that you see in like my avatar, and I really like that character design. And that actually inspired me to like grow a ponytail at one point in my life because I just love this character so much. It's not just that his story; it's also his demeanor, his attitude. Like he's not like just he's not like Kai at all. He's like the opposite. He's like very fun. He's like very like cracks jokes. He makes like it's hard to even. I just have like this like general feeling in my like mind of like how he is. He's just very funny, and he's like he plays very he plays well, but also like he doesn't like belittle his opponents. He kind of is just like, well, I got you this time, but I'll see you next time, all right? And he just like he's very I don't know. I
He,
just saw
he,
his
he,
personality, and I was like, this is kind of almost the person that I want to be. That's like he's such a minor character in the series, but like I saw him, and I was like, I want to be kind of like this type of person. And that's why I chose him like as my avatar.
yeah, I mean it's cool because I think what you try to say, he's like respectful of his opponents.
Yeah, yeah, and he's fun,
Yeah,
and he's fun to be around, and he's really upbeat, and he's like I don't even. It's been a while since I've read it. I just remembered that I loved him so much when I read Mukobuchi. Like he stood out to me so much as like my absolute favorite character in the entire series. Um, because of not only is he just so fun to watch, but he gets so much character development over the course of the series as well. Like he goes from being like just a shy little kid to like this confident, like kind of like happy-go-lucky kind of gambler who just like is very frivolous and is constantly improving and constantly getting better. If I'm not mistaken, I think I haven't read it, but I think the current arc of Mukobuchi is him versus Kai, and also there's two other characters that. Well, if you've read Mukobuchi, you know Kanagi, the like lady in the wheelchair. I think she's in the gamble there, and also this guy Ezaki, who has not been in the translated material yet, but he's also a very major character as the series goes on. But I
I
don't know why I
think
mentioned that, but
yeah, I mean it's fine. I think it speaks kind of like volumes, because you and I read so many things and had so many experiences like fictional stuff, and for this character to be important to you, it definitely means something.
Yeah, no, it's just he's kind of like, just kind of the type of person that I want to be, and that's, it's just fun to see. Like I saw him and I was kind of like, I was the shy, quiet kid. I was Mizuhara Yuta in chapter one when I first started reading Mikobuchi, and I feel like over the course of my life I have kind of like grown in a similar way to him. Like I'm not saying like I have become exactly like him because I'm not nearly as funny as him, but like I feel like his like just desiring to have that type of personality has changed me a little bit. So that's why he's important
And
to
now I want to read Mukobuchi again
me. It's a
because
long
he described.
slog. Mukobuchi is that type of series that it's better honestly if you just kind of like read it little arcs at a time. I was actually thinking like if I ever decided to pick it up again one day, I would probably skip over arcs that I didn't care about. I would literally just like I would be like, okay, this arc isn't important. I'll just skip over this and I'll do the next one, because it's so long and there's a lot of repeating um themes in arcs. There's a lot of different arcs that are very similar. Um
Yeah,
so
but hearing you talk so like passionately about it, it's kind of inspiring to to check it out again. I read it, by the way. I read it, but it was like many years ago when I read it.
Oh, really? How long ago? Well, not how long
Um,
ago, but how much did you read? That's what I meant to ask.
I read it when I was like 20, and now
Okay.
I'm like 30, like now I'm 32. So figure that out.
Well, sure. Oh, wow. Okay, so yeah, that was many years ago. Okay. So you read like the whole thing
Yeah,
of
I,
what there was?
I think I did because you kind of promoted it as well on the blog. And it wasn't just Mukobuchi, it was also this guy who says, there's a suit on your back,
Oh,
and I'm so
Nakinodyu.
embarrassed.
Yeah. You're back in
Yeah,
city.
I'm
Senaka
so embarrassed
Suterese.
that I can't. Yeah, because I even translated like a manga which references that scene, and I can't remember that it's Naki no Ryu.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
I just want to say it was probably the same time I read Mokobuchi and Naki no Ryu. Um, and for me, they felt very similar in a way. Uh,
Mm.
maybe rereading it nowadays, I would have a different opinion.
Well, I would say
But
that they're similar in that they both involve gambling and mafia and all this, but they're very different in the fact that Nakino Ryu is basically, a guy is just so unimaginably like not even realistically good at mahjong. Like he's better at mahjong than any human being. Well, I guess that's kind of like Kai. The difference is that Nakinodyu does stuff that doesn't make any damn sense. It doesn't make any damn sense at all what Nakinodyu does. What Kai does makes total sense. Everything that Kai does makes complete sense, and you're like, wow, so he read his opponent that well. He understood his opponent that deeply that he was able to predict what they were able to do. Whereas with you, it's kind of like he cons, and it's like, oh, how did he know that the new Dora was going to be his con? Like how did he know that? Oh wow, we got four cons. Holy crap! How did he know he could get four cons? It's just because like that's him. It's just he gets crazy good luck. That's you. But Kai is all about like reading the opponent and trying to figure out exactly how they tick and what mannerisms they have and like turning it against them perfectly and elegantly. And that's what I love about Kai is that he's not just unimaginably good at mahjong. He's also like you can understand what he does if you put some thought into it, which is really
yeah,
cool.
listening to you, I'm definitely sure that Mokobuchi is like a lot better than Naki no Ryu, but Naki no Ryu is just so
It's
out of the
cool.
world.
It's cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's just so, and I think it was like photographic tracing.
Could have
There's
been.
no way the manga artist could have drawn these characters so
Yeah.
vividly. Um,
Yeah, that's something else about Mukobuchi that I love is that you can tell that like he deliberately draws like each character in each panel in each mahjong tile like by hand, and it's just amazing that he's been doing it. Amajishi Etsuya has been doing it for just as long as he has, for God, maybe like 20, 30 years or something, just this one series. It's just like even if it does get a little repetitive, just the fact that he continues to do it just to keep Kindai Mahjong alive, it's so impressive in my opinion. Like,
yeah, definitely. Why I remembered Naki no Ryu is because I translated Aki.
oh yeah,
Nobody's gonna know what Aki is.
I
It's
know.
it's a manga about. It's like a biographical manga about this mahjong pro, this girl, and he appears in that manga which I translated. And it's very epic in a way that she's reading Naki no Ryu and that she's getting like bullied.
Mm.
What are you reading like mahjong manga? Like what the fuck are you doing? And it always stood out to me, and I put like this translation note. Um, this is referencing Naki no Ryu, and that moment where he says your back is covered in soot. So
Hard to translate.
it's it's hard to, like it's so iconic.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, no, like it's one of those catchphrases that like a lot of people in Japan like know about, but it's just the idea of like your back is covered in soot, like what does that even mean? It's like it's hard to even like uh it's hard to even kind of figure out. It's like what is he even saying with that?
yeah, and Aki is nowadays and Rumi, her sister, they're like very famous mahjong pros. They're very recognized, but the manga I had to translate, not had to, but I want to translate. Like hearing that story about her father and mother and her teenage years. Everything did. That's maybe why I have Naki no Ryu in my mind because everything I translated back then about Aki, it's sticking in my mind, and I took it very emotionally and seriously.
Mm. Yeah, and that was just like a part of it. That was just like a moment that like stood out to you and like left an impression in your mind from that time.
Yeah, I wish more people would read Aki. It's very underestimated.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
to be honest with you, I didn't even know that you had translated it. uh,
Yeah,
until you just
fine.
said
It
that.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who translated. Like I'm not trying to brag. I'm not trying to
Well,
say
sure, I just didn't
I've
even know it
read.
was translated.
Yeah, but I mean, the manga definitely deserves more attention. There are moments where I actually like cried.
Wow.
Yeah, it's biography. It's very personal. It's not like a story like Akagi or Kaiji. It's not something you just like read. It's very personal because this person exists and they went through this shit and everything you read, especially when her sister is collecting the fucking pachinko balls.
Hmm.
Oh god,
Collecting the
I'm sorry,
pachinko
Sonic.
balls.
I'm just saying the yeah. She's collecting pachinko balls from the ground, so they can have a meal.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's the best manga or something like. it's a great manga. It's a very kind of usual, kind of common manga. It's not something you need to go out for and look for. But remembering translating it, it does hit me still in the heart when I remember these moments when she runs away and her sister hugs her and uh, fuck,
Yeah.
fuck.
It's it.
Sorry, fuck.
Yeah, it just kind of like it stands out to you so much because like you kind of when you're translating something, you almost are along for the journey with the characters. Almost, I find that too, where like um, like when you're translating something, you want to like feel the emotions of the manga. You have to like feel the emotions of the manga really deeply to really understand like the right way to phrase something. Um, so I can definitely relate to that too. And like, I mean, just even like in Atsuze Penchan, when like I was uh, like when I was translating like chapters 8 and 10, those were like the most hard hitting chapters of Atsuize Penchan, and I read them a little bit ago, and they're kind of short, but like the fact that I had to like I translated them and I like really understood what it meant, like really hit me hard and like really touched me on a deep level and like kind of like made me reevaluate my life, even though like the letter from Kijima's dad to Penchan in chapter 10 is only like 3 pages. It's still like it felt like a lot longer to me, and it stood out in my mind as like a much bigger thing than it actually was in the series. Um, so yeah, uh, I mean, just like the thought about you only have one life to live, so you should probably spend it like doing what you want, but also chasing your dreams is kind of like that's like boiling down the message of like chapter 8 and 9 together is like you only get one life, so you should do what you want, but also chase after your dreams at the same time.
And I'm sorry I had to open up Aki.
Uh,
It's such a good manga. It's kind of like disappointing to me that not a lot of people received it well.
mm.
I don't know if it was a bad translation or bad
It can't
typesetting.
be that.
I don't.
No, people relate to like manga that are like, and no matter how like poorly done they are, like people still can like get into them and like really feel the feels. And I'm sure you did like a great job because you always do. But yeah, it's probably just like it's something that it's a really deep cut. It's like you have to be into mahjong enough to like care about a particular mahjong pro, and I would say that that's because it is like a biography of Nikaido Aki, the like uh Japanese mahjong pro. And from what you're telling me, does sound like she had like a really rough life and she had to really like almost pull herself up by her bootstraps to get to where she is today. So that is like now that you're putting it like that, I can see why it's a series that is worth exploring. Why it's a series that was worth making, because like before you just said that, like I kind of had the impression that it was just kind of like just kind of like, well, she's a popular uh mahjong pro, so why don't we make a series about her, kind of like with Otapin or something like that. But uh the fact that it's that deep and it shows that level of difficulty in her life and kind
It
of
it, it was a lot harder for me to translate Aki because there's this line. I just randomly opened this page and their father tells these little girls, "There's no mama anymore," and it was so fucking hard to translate this because I can translate Koizumi, I can translate Kirinji, but it never hit so hard. Like there's no mama anymore, and I had to put it into words, and it
like
it's
her mom's like gone at that point.
yeah, because their parents divorced,
I see. Yeah.
and knowing that it's a real life story.
Yeah, and just everything that she had to go through to get to where she is, that definitely, that hits hard. That hits really hard. Yeah. Yeah, especially when you're translating it too. Like, I guess I can talk about this now. Yeah, well, I don't know if I want to. No, I'm not gonna tell you what manga it is, but there is a manga I'm working on, like, for a company, and like there was a scene in there that like hit me especially hard because I was translating it, because I was like I got to know the character on such a deep level, and like I was there with them the whole time. But yeah, especially the fact that like it's a real person, and you understand like that they actually went through all this, and like, gosh, I mean, well, that's just kind of like what literature and autobiographies almost are for, um, is to kind of like give you an insight into how like the person in question is feeling, and like kind of like um, make you feel for them and understand what they went through and respect them even more, you know?
It's. I'm just gonna say this. It wasn't easy for me to translate Aki because I might be too emotional, but seeing two little girls
Hmm.
without a mom and asking asking for their mom, like, where's my mom? And it's
Yeah, she's gone.
I
And
and
yeah, just imagining.
translating this kind of stuff is it's not like Kirinji. Kirinji is very fun to translate for me, and Koizumi also is very fun to translate for me. But if I have to translate something about two little girls who are left without their mom and an asshole of a dad, and it
It
I'm
just
sorry,
touches you
I
deeply, and it like leaves a scar on your heart almost, because like you just feel so bad for those little girls, and like, yeah, I mean, I can totally understand that. How would you say, did you like cry as you were doing it? Because like, there's been times that I've cried while I've been translating, and
I wasn't. I was only crying when the song started. But I wasn't crying as I was translating. I was just feeling so sad about everything I was doing. Um, how can you
yeah,
look at two little girls and like in Kirinji? I'm very happy to translate because it's all like positive. It's optimistic. It's fun to translate. But in this kind of manga, I had to look at this and realize this actually happened, and it I I didn't cry, but I felt I felt something in my heart which was like wrenching. It felt very wrong inside my head to do this because I don't want to translate like sad stuff or like depressing stuff. I want to translate something which makes people more optimistic and
yeah, you want to lift people up, not bring them down.
yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, that is kind of I don't know, but people definitely appreciate, the work, and it's like, they see that, and it it hits them, but probably not as hard as it was to just translate it. Um,
I had to choose the words, and it's not easy choosing some words because you read in Japanese and you're okay. That's what he meant, and then you have to like choose some words to put it in English, and
Yeah.
I'm hitting my head right now I because I
Yeah.
can't explain to people how terrible it feels to put such a sad story into words, and there's also some kind of like responsibility. I couldn't just write anything I wanted. I had to follow what the manga actually said. um, I had to put it as realistic as possible. um,
Right.
and yeah, I mean, I love Aki, and I'm not ashamed of anything I translated. I'm kind of proud of it, but it was hard to do. It was
Yeah.
very
But
hard.
also kind of beautiful at the end of the day, right? Like once you look at the whole thing as a whole and you see everything that she accomplished and everything she went through. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just the fact that it's all there and it's all, you know, readily readable. Um, must make you feel proud in some sense that you were able to tough through it and like get through those difficult parts and like, it is hard like seeing like knowing that this happened to somebody, but um it just gives you a deeper appreciation for the person that it happened to at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Nowadays, when I look at it, I'm definitely like proud of the way, even the typesetting. I'm proud of it. But it was a different experience for me because otherwise, what did I translate? Like Koizumi,
Yeah, which
like
is just ridiculous.
politicians, like playing mahjong.
Yeah, that was
Um,
probably like the deepest, like most emotional series that you've done.
yeah, yeah, and it was a different experience for me. I I'm not saying that I don't want to go through a similar experience again. I'm just saying it was hard,
It was very hard.
especially
Yeah,
if especially if you're like emotional like me. I'm an emotional person. I'm not ashamed of saying it, but
right.
as I said, if I see two little girls without a mother, it's hitting me hard, and
Yeah, as it would anybody. So, but especially someone who's like, emotional. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, there's plenty of times where like I wouldn't say I've ever had to translate a series that difficult though. I wouldn't say I've ever had to translate a series that's that like emotional and raw and like real, you know. Um, there's typically series that like pull at your heartstrings, but you can always just be like, well, it's just a character at the end of the day. But there you had to like realize that it was an actual real person that all of this had happened to, which hits you all the much harder. Um,
the hardest part, as I said like multiple times, was two little girls crying without a mother, and that's I can't get over it. It's
yeah,
I I
but
I don't even know like how to explain. Like I had to
there's
translate
yeah,
two little girls without a mother crying, and
there's really no way to explain it. It's like a raw human emotion, you know. It's like you know, you said all you need to say, and like it's um, it's just it's really tough to like know that that actually happened to somebody for sure. But I mean, I don't want this episode to just be a complete downer is at the same time.
Yeah,
So,
let's
so
get to Donkey Kong Country.
Donkey Kong. Okay, yeah, something like that. Let's lighten the mood a bit. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Uh, so let's because this episode is about as the title says, nothing at all.
yeah.
So um, let's talk some stuff which turned us towards manga, anime, video games. For me, it was the Super Nintendo. I had the Super Mario World. I had Donkey Kong Country, and the songs of Donkey Kong Country are still ringing in my head
Mm.
because David Wise is such a genius in music making. I can't forget any song from Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah, those were great games. Um, well, I say they were great games, but I think I only played the first one. That was one of my childhood games too, Donkey Kong Country. Um, I remember never being able to get past like the first two levels, but um,
You suck,
I
man.
do suck. Yeah, no, I admit it. Like my motor skills are like it. Like I found out early on in my life that my motor skills are not like the best. If I do something like really if I do something a lot and I do it like consistently and repetitively, then I can get good at something. But like as far as like, learning how to play video games, like that was kind of like a challenge for me, which is why I kind of like gravitated more to RPGs when I was younger. Because like
is it is
I
it is it true? I didn't know that that you have uh this problem with motor skills.
it's just like my motor skills are like less than below average, it's like I don't know, like I would have a hard time like catching balls in elementary school and like playing with friends and stuff. I've gotten a lot better at it. My hand-eye coordination has gotten a lot better, but I'm just saying like early on in my life, like it was like I would try to play video games, but yeah, like I remember I had Final Fantasy 4 growing up, and I played that like
That's a great
all the way
game.
through because that was
That's a great
yeah,
game.
that was a great game. Yeah. Well, it was Final Fantasy 2 in the US, but it was actually the fourth one. Um, and I think that was like my introduction into like RPGs, but the thing that really made me want to learn Japanese, and this is gonna sound cringy, but the thing that really made me want to learn Japanese was Kingdom Hearts. um,
Oh, no, oh,
because
no,
I
we gotta bring in Redden right
Radin,
now.
yeah, no, me and Radin talk about Kingdom Hearts all the time, dude. Like we have that common connection. Like I love Kingdom Hearts so much. Primarily just the first game, Kingdom Hearts 1, because it just was like the perfect story. It was just like the perfect freaking story. Yeah, okay. So people don't want to hear about that, but um,
Oh,
the point
we want to hear about it.
do
It's
you?
fine. Just
Okay. Um, I don't know. It's just like the perfect story for me. Like as far as like a kind of kids game goes, like it has so many good messages. Like the dichotomy between light and darkness, and like there's darkness out there, but don't give into it, or else you'll end up like Riku. You want to be like Sora. You want to be like the kid that's like saving people and like saving the world, and like there's like I don't know. It feels really deep, and it feels like we learn a lot about like how darkness operates from Ansem, but also that like it's not right, and that you can't give into it and stuff like that. Um, but in any case, like that game like spoke to me on like such a deep level, and I cried all the way throughout it, like as everything like unfolded, and I found out like all the twists and turns. There's so many twists and turns in that damn game. Um, and I loved it so much that I wanted to play it in Japanese. Well, not even I wanted to play it in Japanese. I wanted to play the final mix version, which was only in Japanese. Because the final mix version had like extra heartless and like extra like this and extra that. It had like a bunch of bonus features, but it was only in Japanese. So I imported it from Japan. And I never got to play it because I didn't understand how like region locks worked. and I didn't know how to like soft lock my console, or not soft. What do you call it? Soft mod my console. I didn't know how to do that at the time, so I just like put it in my PS2. It gave me like the like this disc is not supported message, but I do remember like leafing through the instruction manual and being like, wow, it would be so great to be able to read this, you know? It would be so great to be able to read all this Japanese stuff. And that's why I decided to go to a school, go to the only middle school in my entire state that taught Japanese. um and I think that was like one of the reasons. And also I just like loved all sorts of Japanese video games and stuff like that. I didn't get into anime until after I started learning Japanese, but I think that was
That
like the impetus for me. Looking back.
that's interesting. All I gotta say about Kingdom Hearts is simple and clean is
Is
the
the
way
way
that
that
you
you make my
make me
sanctuary.
feel. Yeah. I remember that song. I remember but I guess it's because I was a major Final Fantasy fan before I played Kingdom Hearts, so I never took it like very seriously. And I
Yeah.
always have like a bone to pick with Disney. Um,
Yeah. They're not the best company. They're definitely not.
yeah. So playing Kingdom Hearts for me, I enjoyed it in every single way. But I always had this like in my back mind. I always had this like, don't forget Final Fantasy 4, 5, 6, 7,
Oh
especially
yeah. You
7.
wanted more representation from Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's like I grew up with Final Fantasy, and I just can't ignore the fact that it's SquareSoft and that this is Disney and that it's just two companies trying to make money. Uh,
They did a damn good job in the first game, I feel like though. Well, maybe it's just nostalgia talking, but I feel like they made such a good story in the first game.
they
Second
did.
game too.
I like Kingdom Hearts 1, 2. I like the games. I mean, as I played them, I liked them. I enjoyed every single. I even played the Game Boy Advance, the Chain of Hearts,
Chain of Memories, yeah. Yeah,
Chain of Memories.
that one was
Yeah,
it was filler. That one was filler.
yeah, that was filler. But I'm not saying that I don't like Kingdom Hearts. I'm just saying, as I was playing, I was like, SquareSoft, what are you doing? Where's my
Hmm.
Final Fantasy VII stuff?
I would say that
Because
like Kingdom Hearts is probably Disney's best property at the moment, in my
it is,
opinion.
it is,
Yeah.
it is. It's just for me as a because when I was like 11 or 12, the first games I really played, I had a PlayStation, and the first games I played was Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9.
Hmm.
Um, and to me, they meant so much. Uh,
Yeah. No,
like
I felt the same way about Final Fantasy X.
Final Fantasy 10, I even had a PS2 after that, and I played Final Fantasy 10, and I already told you in in the Discord that I even chose my nickname after that, after
Oh,
Titan
after
to
Titus,
the
yeah. Zetus.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I even enjoyed Final Fantasy 10 a lot because Final Fantasy 10 has the best battle system, definitely best battle system in
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's because it's you can anticipate it and you can predict what's going to happen next instead of having to like be hurried and rush against the active time battle system and like just trying to oh just do something that's always what I ended up being like. Oh,
Even the song was like
right. Yeah, very upbeat.
yeah, I like every time you enter the combat in Final Fantasy X, you were excited, like you couldn't wait. I love Final Fantasy up to 11.
Up to 11. Oh, I
um,
don't even remember. Was 11 the MMO?
yeah, yeah. 11 was the MMO, and then
Yeah.
12 was a piece of shit.
Yeah. I played
So,
13. I didn't play 12, but I played 13.
but the reason why we are talking about Final Fantasy is that I really, really, it changed my life in a way when I was playing the games.
Yeah.
And even retroactively, I played 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I played all of them, the fan translations of 3 or 2.
Yeah.
Um, so it's a very, very important series to me, especially Final Fantasy 7.
Oh yeah.
7 is 7 is something which we don't have 7 hours for
We would
Final
need
Fantasy 7.
7 hours to talk about 7.
Yeah, and then I played Kingdom Hearts, and I was like, yeah, all of this is fun, but where's my Final Fantasy in a way?
Yeah, no, I definitely feel like Final Fantasy has a deeper story in general. Like most of them have like way deeper stories, and yeah, like when I played the Final Fantasies, I was like, dang, like these are even better. Um, it's I'd say like Kingdom Hearts is like, more of a kid's game in a sense, but it's a kid's game that has a very nostalgic um nostalgic place in a lot of people's hearts, but um
Kingdom Hearts is not bad in any way. As I said, I enjoyed it. It's just when I was playing the game, maybe somebody who doesn't know who Cloud is, who doesn't know who Squall is, who doesn't know any Squaresoft character. Yeah, it's super fun. I agree. And as I said, the song, simple and clean. Everything about it is very great. But for somebody like me who was a big Final Fantasy fan, playing it, I was like, okay, eh, like,
Yeah. Part of it
not,
was that I had not played any Final Fantasy. Well, that's not true. I played Final Fantasy 2/4, when I was younger, like I mentioned, but that was the only Final Fantasy I'd played. And it was kind of like I'd heard the name Final Fantasy, but I hadn't actually played any of the games in which the characters from Kingdom Hearts had appeared. Um, so yeah, that was I guess that is part of why I liked it so much is because it was kind of a taste of that Final Fantasy flavor without like being too over the top with it at the same time. But I will say that yeah, definitely Final Fantasy 7 and 10 do have like amazing stories, like probably surpassing it. Um, and
7 has a problem that it brought in very weird people into the fan base.
oh really?
I'm gonna go that
I mean, I
I'm
guess anything that's popular kind of brings all sorts of people. You get the good and the bad. Um, Anything that's super popular because 7 was like the breakout hit for Final Fantasy. It was like it was like the biggest it had ever been at that point.
yeah, like if you ask me nowadays, I'm gonna say Final Fantasy 4 is better. I'm just gonna
Mm.
say it's better than 7.
Well, looking
But
back on it, I think Final Fantasy 4 is kind of like cookie cutter.
no, there were people dying. There was a lot of stuff in 4.
Well, yeah, I mean people do die. I'm just saying as far as like the story goes, it's kind of crazy how I don't know, like the bad guy. I'm not gonna spoil it, but like it's just it just kind of seems like kind of blasé and vague. Um,
I would say 4 is even like better written than 7.
mm,
But 7 has a special place in my heart because at that age, at that time. Like, I was a kid. I was like 10 years old, and you have a PlayStation, and you put this CD, and it's fucking Cloud, and it's
Yeah, just all this amazingness happening before your very eyes. It's like it's just a sight to
yeah,
behold.
yeah. So 7, a special place in my heart. I would never say it's the best Final Fantasy. I would say 4 is the better one. I would say even 6 with Terra and that whole with
Mm.
Shadow and
I never
that
actually
kind
played
of.
six. Well, I mean, I tried it, but I didn't get very far.
I would say 4 and 6 are better than 7, but 7 has a special place in my heart just because I was so young playing it for the first time.
I see. Yeah, I don't.
And it it,
That
it
is how
was
it is
kind
with
of
a lot
like
of series. Yeah.
it's also like kind of revolutionary in a way. You gotta give like Final Fantasy 7 like some kudos. You gotta oh, you gotta say, you have to say um, it is obviously in a way
Yeah. How
there's
much
a
of that
reason.
do you think is because it was the first 3D game? And how much do you think is because it had such amazing twists and like such a good story and like such a environmental message? How much do you think? Like, because yeah, I don't know.
I
If you look at the story based on how it is, like it kind of like it does have a lot of twists that surprise you, and it does have like a deep underlying message to it. But I would say that like Final Fantasy X has the better story. But it's just that Final Fantasy
okay,
VII was the first 3D game, and it was a good game despite the freaking Lego people in the graphics. Um,
all right,
despite the Lego
okay,
people, it had a
okay.
pretty decent
Final Fantasy.
story and
Okay,
outstanding graphics for what was considered at the time.
I get you. I get you. I would say Final Fantasy X has a better.
Hmm.
I can't even say that it has a better story because it is more attractive. It's more sexy. Final
Or
Fantasy
sexy.
X.
It just has better
Yeah,
graphics, is all you're saying. I don't know.
not just it has better sound. It has more like Lulu, like just more like
Just the boobs.
sexy character.
Yeah, the boobs. That's the main appeal of Final Fantasy X now.
It has
Is the boobs. Yeah,
Yuna,
Yuna. Yeah,
your
she's cute. Yeah, she's really cute. Yeah, people bought
yeah,
the game just for that. Yeah.
Yuna is your first childhood crush, Yuna, uh, and you wanna be. I wanted to be Titus or Tidus or
Oh
however you
yeah.
call him,
Yeah,
but
no, but come on,
it,
man. There's like so many good twists in that. I'm just thinking about all of them, and I'm just like, man, how could you have ever seen that one coming? How could you have ever seen that one coming? Like this whole, like the entire world is almost a lie in the end. Like the entire world becomes like just this giant big lie at the end. It just is so crazy, and and
the
the way
best
that they
part
do
about
something that's so insurmountable in the end, just like something that nobody had ever done before, and they were just like, well, it's the right thing to do, so we're gonna do it, and then they do it, and it's just like, what? That's insane, dude.
Final Fantasy X, is good because it touches even upon religion.
Well, yeah, that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest underlying theme, and um, yeah, it kind of I'd say like part of the message of Final Fantasy X is kind of like to almost question religion, like when you
It
boil it
also
down.
has it also has these father issues between Titus and Jack. he was obviously disrespected by his father. He was made fun of by his father, but his father still loved him. They never like really connected. I mean, Final Fantasy X is great. I love this fucking game, and it means so much to me. Um, but seven still has so much like social commentary. Okay. Let's view it like this. 10 is more like a character study between Titus, his father, Jack, his Yuna, and stuff. While 7 is more like a social commentary on destroying the planet and stuff.
Um, yeah, it is. Yeah, I guess like there are more like father issues and like all that stuff in 10, but I don't know. I can't freaking see 7 as any better than 10. I think that 10 has to have the better story, but the Portal Ninja thinks that 15 is the best one.
The one with the four gay guys.
What? The four gay guys. I haven't played it, so I don't know. He wanted you to see that, so I just figured I'd point it out.
Like imagine a Final Fantasy without any female characters. I mean, okay, sure, but what the fuck? I mean, where's my Tifa? Where's my Aerith? Where's
Yeah,
my Yuna? Like,
you
what the
need some
fuck? Like,
babes. You need some babes to even it out.
just just for guys which don't which don't like show any. Okay, maybe this will offend someone, so I'm gonna stop. But come on, like, four guys, really, Final Fantasy 15, and the same game which where your uh, like the towns are blocked from the outside.
Towns are blocked.
It's like once you leave the town, you have like these monsters attacking you, but in the town, even though there's no wall for the town, um, there gonna be no monsters, and it's it's making me miss Final Fantasy 9 because 9 made sense in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like I was telling you before, like I played through a little bit of 9, just like maybe like 5 months ago, and like I wanted to know what happened, but I couldn't be bothered to like beat all the bosses because they were really hard. So I just watched a speed run that like described all. It was like an awesome games done quick speed run that like actually like explained all of the story elements, and like I was really impressed with what I saw. It looked like a really good game. And
Yeah, for me it was like my best friend had 7, and I was going to his place when I was a kid all the time to play 7 with him. And when I went to this black market selling guy, he just said, "No, I only have Final Fantasy 9."
mm,
And I was like, "Okay, give it to me." And nowadays, I mean, for me as a child, when I was playing 9, it was very, it was, it was the only thing I had, like the chocobo game with the chocobos.
yeah.
I even convinced my father to watch me play the chocobo. Like it was a huge deal for me.
Mm.
But nowadays, when I think about Final Fantasy 9, it's really all about life and death, and it's very deep, actually, very deep, much more deeper. Seven ha- has the story about world destruction, about pollution, all of this stuff, Mako reactors. Okay, 8 has this story about different pol- political stuff going on. Okay, 9 is just like life and death,
Yeah,
life,
and
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 every character has to face his life and death.
and their identity too, right? Because that's the whole thing with
Yeah,
Vivi, facing his
Vivi is
identity.
the best
Yeah,
character that ever existed.
yeah,
Imagine you're told that your life is on a clock and you're gonna die.
yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah, just having a countdown until your death. Like, yeah, I mean that's a very real situation with like, um, cancer patients and stuff like that. So it is worth thinking about.
And he has this was talked about in a great YouTube video, but there's this opposite about Kuja or Kuja, whatever.
Probably
Uh,
Kuja.
he lear- he learns that he has to die, and he doesn't accept it.
Yeah.
Vivi Vivi accepts it, and he has this beautiful letter at the end, and I
You
I can't like
can't.
it's
You just can't. Yeah. I mean, I don't even remember the letter because I didn't play the whole game, but
it
um
says my memories will be at the end. It says my memory will be written in the sky.
aw, that's so yeah, that's so sweet. My memory will be written in the sky. Like, yeah, when I'm up there. God, yeah, that must have made you feel so that must have touched you on such a deep level when you were playing it as a kid.
And it's not just me; it's the favorite game of Nobuo Uematsu and Sakaguchi. It's their favorite game. It's 9.
Yeah.
9 is their favorite game.
Yeah, because they were able to like just kind of make it the way that they wanted to, right? Like they weren't constrained by like having to appease like a popular market or anything. They were just making a Final Fantasy game like in the style of Final Fantasy, and they like incorporated as many like elements as they wanted to and just made it as artistic as they wanted to, which
The
is
music is the best. The music in 9 is the best ever.
yeah.
If you challenge me and say that Final Fantasy 9 doesn't have the best music, we're gonna fight.
We're gonna fight. I'm not challenging you. I mean, it had some good tunes, yeah. Definitely had some good tunes. So, yeah, it's definitely a very special game.
I love the music in 7 and 8. And 10. 10 especially has some very good tunes. But 9 is special.
Yeah.
Like the ending song, the song at the end. There's there's Final Fantasy 8 where it is very cool and romantic to hear this "My Eyes on You" like song at the end. Eyes on you. Yeah, okay, it's cool. But 9 9 every single tune is great, and if the composer says this is what I'm mostly proud of, there's gotta be something to it.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, you can tell that there was like a lot of classical inspiration from it, and that he really poured his heart into it. So, I mean, I agree. Like from what I've heard, it seems like a really great soundtrack, really great game. Um,
There's the song "Village of Dali."
Yeah.
which most people will not remember. But even nowadays, when I feel down or sad, I just write into YouTube Village of Dali. I
Yeah.
open up the song and it just gives me a good mood. Um,
Yeah. I do that too with like soundtracks from old games from uh my childhood. Yeah, especially like Final Fantasy X, yeah. So I can totally understand that. Um,
to answer Portal Ninja Final Fantasy 14, I didn't play it, so
isn't that
I don't.
16?
Oh, Final Fantasy 16. Is there even a 16? Wow.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I didn't play it, so I don't have an opinion.
Let me look
Sorry
that up.
about
Is there a
that.
16? You said so far. Um, it says upcoming. Or so you're just asking what our opinions are on like how we think it's gonna turn out or something?
The last game I played was 13. Sorry, Ninja. 13 was the last game I played. I
Yeah.
didn't even play the Final Fantasy VII remake. I watched some videos about it.
Oh yeah,
But
I played it. I played the remake. Um, and I was disappointed that it was only up till the end of Midgar, but it did throw in enough like twists and like it changed the story up enough that it made it interesting. It fleshed out the story like a lot. So apparently there's going to be a sequel to the remake, which I'm
I
looking forward
I,
to.
I gotta praise the remake because they could have fucked up the whole story in so many ways, but they kept it decently, and Barrett was like the standout character, and I loved it so much. The only thing which I'm not happy about is the Sephiroth, constant Sephiroth.
Oh yeah, just he's a
Always,
constant presence the entire time. Yeah, he was supposed to be like an enigmatic figure that you find out about later. You know that, and it's kind of shocking hearing all about him. But he's kind of just there from the beginning. I think that the like intention behind the game is that it's like set in a like separate universe. It's kind of like I don't know, all the characters get transported back in time to the beginning of the story and then they proceed to act out the same events but like things aren't quite the same and there's little like hints that things are going to be a little bit different and that's what all the like little ghosts are. That's what all the like ghosts that are flying around are, is that those are the points where the timeline of the story is being altered. um and those are the points where it diverging from the original story and like this new universe is like I don't know, it's some like parallel universe like time travel shenanigans going on and like or and I've also heard a theory that like Aerith is like it like knows about the original history and is trying to subvert her own death or something like that. um but yeah, we'll just see how it goes. It does intrigue me. I do feel like it was a little long and there were a lot of filler episodes in the remake. Like that whole part where they just like suddenly like drop down below the earth and like wind up in this big lab filled with all these like monsters and stuff and they have to fight their way out. Like there was no point in any of that. It was just pure filler. But
it's easy to it's very easy to shit on the remake. Like I can go on for 2 hours just shitting on the remake, but at the same time, honestly, they did a good job because when I see Cloud, when I see his character, and when I see Aerith, I feel home.
mm,
I feel like I'm putting in the disc in my PlayStation 1 again.
right.
They did a good job. They just fucked up with too much Sephiroth and too much trying to whatever. They fucked up in some little things, but I'm gonna praise it. I'm gonna say it's very good. It's good.
Yeah, no, they definitely they put a lot of effort into getting all the graphics like looking perfect, and there's something to be said for that. The fact that they were going that hard on like making sure that like all the graphics looked like photorealistic, pretty much every single time. Um, and I don't know, it is cool seeing like Cloud and Tifa and Aerith like all in their like what they would look like if they were like real people almost. Um, that is really cool.
They did a good job.
Yeah,
And I'm pulling off my head.
pulling off your head. What?
Not my head.
What are you,
My
Jack Skellington?
my head.
I can take off my head to recite Shakespearean quotations.
But I mean, I mean, it's not perfect, but it could have gone a lot worse.
Yeah.
They
Okay. Wait. What were you saying though? Okay.
like
I don't. Whatever.
tipping my. I'm tipping my head,
Tipping your
saying
hat.
there's
Okay. It sounded like taking off your head. All right. I got. Yeah. Yeah. No. You're tipping your hat. Yeah.
no. I'm just I'm just saying could have gone worse, could have been better, but okay, it's okay, it's okay. I like Cloud, I like Tifa, I like Aerith, I like. It's fun, it's okay.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's yeah. No. I definitely tip my hat as well. And I have faith for the future of the series as well. I feel like they're making it as like in some sense they can't make it the same, right? They can't make it the story the exact same because if they made it the exact same, then what point would there be in playing it, right? Because they have to change it up a little bit and kind of like throw in these hints of like something's not quite right, something's a little different, to make it engaging. I don't think they even really wanted to do it as a remake. I think they just wanted to like I I feel like they wanted to create their own new story at the same time. Like maybe what would you call that? Like not a sequel. I don't even know what you would call it really, but they're doing something interesting with it, which is really cool. You might have to invent a new word for that because it's like it's not a remake, but it's like a new story using the same concept and the same it's a new story using the same story. I don't know. What would you even call that?
I'm not trying to be this nostalgic kind of guy who's just like, you made Final Fantasy VII wrong. You fucked it up. No, this is all wrong. I'm not trying to be that kind of guy. They did a good job for what a Final Fantasy VII remake could be. They made some mistakes. It's still good. It's still worth playing and buying.
Right. It
I'm
might not
I'm
be worth the $60 price tag though. Or is it even $60? I think it might be even more. Yeah, I remember it was really expensive. Just it felt like it kind of felt like a rip off. Um, how much is it? Let me see. It's like $60 or something. $80.
holy shit, 80.
$80 for a freaking
Oh,
for something that only covers up till the end of Midgar.
okay, so I'm taking back everything I said.
Yeah. Yeah, that is it definitely is not worth $80. It is not worth
no,
$80.
no, 80 is too much
Yeah, 80
because
might be worth it if it was like the full game, like from like maybe up till the end of disc 1 at least or something.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you're into like Blizzard stuff, but I bought Warcraft 3 for $20. So
I'm not really. I've never played any Warcraft games.
okay, but I still had so much enjoyment just for giving $20. I mean, Final Fantasy VII is more like like a like a fucking movie experience. It's not really. I can spend 120 hours into Warcraft 3,
Yeah.
but Final Fantasy VII Remake, I see
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
it's like 40 hours at the end of it. It's nothing, you know. Yeah, it's kind of like it's just overselling. They're like maximizing their profits on their property, on a well-known property. That's really what it is at the end of the day. They know that a lot of people have been asking for this and want this, so they're making it as good as they can, and they're like being like, "Well, you wanted it so bad, you better pay for it," you know. So, uh, yeah, but you can, I mean, definitely, like, you can get way, like, I've put, like, freaking thousands of hours into a free game, you know? If you're just looking to, like, spend time, like, enjoying yourself, like, there's much easier ways to do it, and much cheaper ways to do it, much more cost-efficient ways to do it.
and I don't want to like discourage people from supporting Square and Final Fantasy VII Remake, but it is kind of 80 bucks. It's really uh, 80 bucks. It's no game costs so much. It's
Yeah.
I don't even
That
have
is,
any
like, the highest
words.
price tag I've seen in recent memory. So, I don't know. But, anyway, do you want to talk about something else? Do you think we're about done with Final
Yeah, let's
Fantasy?
talk about how we got into. I was also like thinking about it. Let's talk how we got into manga, anime.
Hmm. Have well, my explanation is pretty short. I just watched Naruto and I liked it, and then I watched Bleach and One Piece, and Death Note, and then I kind of liked Death Note so much that I continued to like search out that type of manga, and that's when I found Liar Game, and then that's when I found Kaiji, and I was like, hey, Kaiji, isn't continued, so let me let me see if I can help with that. That's kind of my story.
Right, I'm interested because all we had here was German translated anime. We had like Dragon Ball, we had Naruto,
Yeah.
we had One Piece, all in German, and they did a beautiful job. By the way, anybody who knows about German anime, it's amazing. The way
Mm.
the voice actors, it's really amazing. But that's all we had. Yu-Gi-Oh, we had Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh yeah.
Um, and that's how basically I got into like anime stuff, and then later on I got a PC, and I was I was like downloading games on the PC illegally.
hmm
Please don't support me. Uh,
I mean, the statute of limitations is probably up anyway. I don't know if it is or not.
and
I just pulled that out of my ass, but it's been a while,
yeah,
is what I'm saying.
yeah, it's been a while, definitely for both of us. All I'm saying is I had the German. It's called RTL 2. The channel we had these anime during like the during the time when you came back from school, and luckily I had friends after um, watching the anime. We would come out together and discuss it. Um, that's how I basically got into it, and later on it was about manga and learning Japanese and getting deeper into it. But at the base, it was basically like Dragon Ball.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I remember I would skip class to read Dragon Ball because they had the Dragon Ball manga in my library. So I would literally I was just so into it that I would just literally not go to class and I would just read Dragon Ball.
So
Did
got into Dragon Ball. Ba 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 da bam boom ba da ba da bam boom
hey,
bam ba ram ba bam.
right? So iconic.
Yeah, definitely Dragon Ball.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember. I think I actually like. Yeah, I cried at Boo's story because like like Majin Buu, right? You remember him?
I know Boo, but
How
why would you
crazy
cry
is it
about
that I cried at Dragon Ball? Yeah, like his freaking like it was like something where he was like Mr. or like Hercule, Mr. Satan. Like he was like taking Boo in at his house and they like found like a lost puppy or something. I don't even remember. It was like they found like a lost puppy and like the puppy like got injured and Boo like looked after the puppy or something, and I remember being like, "Oh, he does have a heart. He's a good person. Why is he the bad guy?" And then he turns out to like not be the actual bad guy, and it's like there's like a I forget like his transformation happens somehow. Like they like bring the actual Majin out of him, and then he becomes Kid Buu or something like that. I don't know. It's
I remember. I remember Fat Boo.
Fat Boo. Oh yeah. That's the one that I was talking about. Who like uh who watched or who did all that stuff I was saying. I don't know what I'm rambling about right now. Yeah, that's Fat Boo is the one is the original base one. But you don't remember like Kid Boo because he like turns into like
I
a
remember all the Boo.
that's the
It's
one
funny
that
because
yeah, that's the guy that Goku ultimately fights against on like a different planet. Like literally, they're like destroying planets as they're like flying across the solar system, and like freaking he goes like Super Saiyan 3, and like Vegeta helps him, and he makes the Spirit Bomb and freaking like throws it at Kid Buu, and Kid Buu doesn't do anything except scream like, and he freaking dies, and the planet explodes, and then everything's normal. Like that's the whole climax of freaking Dragon Ball Z. I just spoiled it for everybody, but who the hell hasn't read? Who the hell hasn't seen Dragon Ball?
you're not spoiling anything.
Yeah.
Um, I gotta admit, and I'm not sure if I should say this. Um, I I okay. Um, when I was a child and watching Dragon Ball Z, I had a big like crush on
Bulma,
Android 17
117.
and Bulma as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I liked her too. She was pretty cute.
yeah, and
Pretty emotionless
Toriyama,
though. Pretty emotionless at the same time.
yeah, Toriyama had like this great talent of drawing girls in a way. Even after I knew that she got with Vegeta, I was still, I was, I was still, it was my childhood crush.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know. It's I mean, I don't know if she has much in the way of personality, but you kind of like got a feel for what kind of girls you'd like. Oh no, I spoiled it for Yaro. I spoiled Dragon Ball for Yaro. I'm sorry, man. I mean, I just figured, I had to explain to Rinshan like what Kid Buu was, and whatever. I mean, it's the kind of show that like you should know something about anyway. Um, like, because pretty much everybody knows a little bit about it.
And even though I had like some childhood like crush on Bulma and on Android 17, it's great artwork from Toriyama.
Yeah,
It's definitely there's something like even you got pulled in as a child just to Dragon Ball. There's something about his art style. You just get pulled in and you just
yeah,
want to
it's
watch it.
very, yeah, it's not quite, it's not realistic, but there's just something about it that's very edgy, almost, very edgy. Something about it. It reminds me of the art style of Yu-Gi-Oh as well. They both have that kind of like edgy feel to them. Like literally edgy. Like the characters have like very thick edges. Um but also metaphorically edgy. Like kind of like just a little bit more how do you even describe it? Just kind of like something you don't normally see on like kids television. Just like a little bit more
I was a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, but when I think about I dislike it a lot
you just
because
like it. I mean, that was
yeah,
kind of that's kind of like the kid. It's almost like kids Kaiji, a little bit, right? It's almost like a kids gambling manga.
look at the guy's hair. Like look at their hair.
Look at
It's
their hair,
just so silly
so
when you're
ridiculous. Those that hair. Oh,
yeah.
have you seen those noses on Fukumoto character? Those are weird too, right? Those are just ridiculous. How is Kaiji's nose so long? I'm messing with you, but no, I don't know. I guess at
Um,
the same time you have a
all of
point.
the
Like
all,
it's
all of
like
the stuff.
you think about like how can my hair look like this? Like when you're a kid, like oh I wish my hair looked like that when it never can. So I don't know. I guess it is a little bit different.
All of the shows I watched as a kid, I gotta say, Yu-Gi-Oh sucks. Really,
Okay,
like it's
that's fine. I don't know. I like the
Dragon
like
Ball. Dragon
it.
Ball, I enjoyed. I enjoyed a lot of stuff, but Yu-Gi-Oh, I only enjoyed because the marketing got me to buy these fucking cards. Um, but in the end, in the end, it's just so ridiculous and so bad. Like I watch Yu-Gi-Oh nowadays, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, to be fair, I haven't seen it in a while. I remember like really being into it as a kid though. I remember like really being excited for the next episode and trying to see like, how they would outthink each other.
But
So
the
I don't know.
games even like reflect the real rules of the game, so it was just like random rules. So why why would you why would you get invested to this fucking show? Um,
Mm,
little Kuribo did the best. Um, he
well,
made fun
yeah,
of it.
the abridged series. Yeah, I mean, I've watched that.
Yeah, the Bridge series. He did the perfect fun making of the show, but of all of the show, like Dragon Ball, I can praise it nowadays.
Mm.
Yu-Gi-Oh, I can't say anything positive about it, really.
Yeah, I don't know. It had some pretty good battles. I don't know. It was intense.
How could the games be intense if
Oh,
it's
did you?
not even like
Oh, did you know that like the whole Shadow Realm thing, that 4Kids did? That was like to censor it. Like in the original Yu-Gi-Oh, they were actually playing for their lives. It was literally like a Fukumoto manga, like dead serious. Like they were like they were like guillotines that were gonna like chop off people's heads if they like lost the card game and stuff like that. Like in the original Japanese, like the whole Shadow Realm concept was just to censor it for kids' TV.
I know that because I watched the abridged series. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known.
Mm,
But honestly, just remembering it, it's so fucking stupid. Like the whole
okay.
Yu-Gi-Oh series is so stupid. Like it's just fucking stupid. There's no other word for me to explain Yu-Gi-Oh. Just so fucking stupid. Stupid.
I don't know. I guess I have, like I said, I haven't watched it in a while, but I think it's like all right. It's whatever. Pokemon is stupid.
Pokemon. Okay, Pokemon is based on a video game, but what about Digimon or Digimon? How do you call it in
Digimon,
American?
like digital. Um,
Okay,
yeah, I don't know. I've never watched it. I didn't care. I was into Pokemon a little bit as a kid. I remember I would come back from freaking tennis class and I would watch Pokemon. Um,
I remember also watching Pokemon after school because there was this scene with Ash grabbing Pikachu and crying, and
yeah, I didn't mean to laugh. I was just remembering a different anime, but yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, there were episodes of Pokemon that like made me cry too, especially like the episode where like Ash like loses Pikachu. Um, and like if he finds like like Pikachu gets lost in a forest of other Pikachu's and like just kind of like Ash just goes up to him and like hugs him and is like I'll never abandon you, I'll never forget you, stuff like that. That brought me to tears
yeah,
as a kid.
there was especially this scene where Charizard is not obeying his commands at the tournament at the finals. Charizard just says no, and Ash loses, and that was also like very emotional at that moment when I was watching it.
Yeah, just all that effort that went into it and all for nothing. Yeah. Yeah, I mean Ash is a good protagonist because he tries his best even though like he typically loses. Like I don't know, throughout the series like I don't think he's ever like really won. It's just that he continues to like try and get up and try again and we're all rooting for him and hoping that he'll eventually succeed. You know, there's just so many episodes. I don't know if he ever actually does, but I just remember that um
But, for me, it was every single day after school. I would get home, and there was immediately um, Pokemon on German back then.
yeah,
I would watch it. Of course, I would watch it because I was a big fan. I had Pokemon Blue on my Game Boy.
right.
The game itself is a lot more realistic. The anime is a lot more dramatic. But yeah, the scene of Ash not trying to evolve Pikachu to Raichu, it's also very hitting hard because in a way
Yeah,
it's saying
he likes him the way he is. He doesn't want him to um
you don't have to change, you don't have to change your form.
yeah. And that's that's kind of like a message for kids like you just have to be who you are. You know, you can't try to be someone else that you're not. You're good the way you are and people love you the way you are. You know, you don't have to try and be anything uh
And
anything
the
special.
episode where yeah, and the episode where Pikachu is fighting Raichu in the third gym with the general whatever general
General who yeah, I don't even know.
yeah and the way he just yeah it's still a great show. it's definitely a great show. It's Pokemon is definitely a great show.
Mm.
It's a great video game. Um, Digimon is a little bit different because it wasn't a game before. It was just
Yeah, it was kind of a rip off of Pokemon. Even had the same like naming concepts.
I wouldn't call it a ripoff. Um, it actually has a good story if you
I've
watch
literally
it.
I've never seen a single second of it except like the commercials. I just remember there being like a kind of an orange looking Pikachu type thing.
Yeah, I know. That's a thing. Then in Germany, at least, Digimon or whatever is actually more popular in Germany than Pokemon.
Really?
Yeah, because it had a good story. It had a very like tear jerking story where you just can't not cry at the
Wow.
end.
Okay.
And it had these songs also, like the opening song and the ending song, um just just hitting those heartstrings. um
Yeah.
but yeah, in Germany at least, Digimon was very popular.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that because I've never seen Digimon. Yeah, I'm sure it was good. But I just had a thought, like as I mentioned, like that I came back from tennis club to like watch Pokemon. Have you ever seen Prince of Tennis?
No idea about tennis at all.
Terisu no Ojo or Terisu no Osama or something like that. You have no
I
idea
I
about
know
tennis?
I know there's a manga or an anime about tennis, but me personally, I have no fucking idea about tennis because
Yeah, it's
maybe I played a little bit of like badminton, like with the racket, with this easy kind of badminton.
yeah, but
I
yeah,
know, but
yeah.
tennis isn't something like this is for rich people. I have no idea. Just I
Oh, I
I
see.
not
Well, yeah. What's cool about Prince of Tennis? It's like one ounce. I would say one ounce is definitely way better, but Prince of Tennis like is something that I got into, like because we're talking about stuff that we were into, like as I don't know, teenagers, like early teenagers and stuff. Prince of Tennis was something that I got into when I was like an early teenager. And it does have like it incorporates mind games, and it kind of like set the precedent for me of like, wow, okay, so all sports anime are going to have like these levels of mind games almost. It's kind of each like little tennis player has their own specific move, and they like all try and counter each other's like tennis moves, and they like time slows down, and they really like think it through and like try and anticipate the other people's actions and stuff like that. um. Oh,
okay.
have you ever heard the phrase "mada mada dane"?
One more time.
Mada mada dane. It's not over yet. That's
Adam
the main character's catchphrase. Mada mada dane.
Mada Mada
Mada mada
Manada
dane.
Mada Mada. Okay, not
Yeah.
yet, not yet. Okay. No, I haven't heard it.
Okay.
The only anime which was translated to like a sports anime which was translated to German was uh, Kickers. Um,
Kickers.
yeah, it was.
What is that? Soccer,
You would say,
football?
yeah, you would say soccer. But yeah, it was about football, and it really had like this anime background, like this manga background, but Kickers was so I can even sing the whole fucking song from the opening.
Oh wow.
Um, that's the only sports show which sticks to me. Otherwise, I was into mind games.
I see. So you've never seen Free then?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Okay. Do you know what it is?
No, no, I
Okay.
don't.
Do you want to know? It's a freaking, you know how there's a it's like, you know how Saki is like a about a bunch of cute girls playing mahjong?
Yeah.
Free is about a bunch of cute boys swimming. It's like a girls show. I have no idea why I watched it. It was like the only anime that season that I freaking watched. But I do remember watching it, and it was like, I don't know, it was funny. It just stuck out of my mind.
Well, it's interesting. And by the way, um, I have to say this right now. Me and Sonic got into manga, anime, video games from Japan because it's so interesting. I'm not trying to say that stuff from the Western world, like these comic books or whatever comes out in the Western world, suck. No, but something really made us care about the stuff from Japan, and that's why we learn Japanese.
Right.
If I may say that, I'm not even
Well,
sure
yeah,
if
I
I'm
mean,
right.
I would say that Japanese people have a very, very unique creativity to them. They have a very there's nothing like it really anywhere else. There's no other media that has quite the level of creativity and like just just the certain charm that anime and manga have. It's really special, because American comic books are all about like superheroes like fighting and saving the day, saving the girl, like rescuing. They all like fit into that type of like formula, but like Japanese comics are anything, and they can be anything, and they can be intelligent, they can be insightful, they can be philosophical, um, they can be all sorts of stuff. They can make you laugh, they can make you cry. Um, and I'm not saying that like there's no Western comics that do that. I just haven't read any, so I don't know. Uh, I'm sure there's good ones out there, but if you like typically with anime and manga, there's just something about it that like usually if something is a fairly well written or well received anime or manga, like there's something deep about it or something that's engaging about it on an intellectual level.
Yeah, we've been talking about video games. We talked about Final Fantasy. We talked about anime. We talked about manga. About Mokobuchi. Um, as Sonic said, there's something about Japanese stuff which just is just it's just fuck. It's just making you really care about it and
Yeah,
really want to learn the language. And it's not easy learning Japanese if you're from the West.
yeah,
At the start, it's a difficult language. But imagine this: it inspired us so much that us two chose to learn the language.
yeah. I mean that says a lot for sure. Um, yeah, just the fact that we were exposed to these kinds of shows from such an early age that like hit us so deeply and made us feel all these certain ways. Probably it just it inspired us to want to like learn the language and get deeper into it, and that's something really really special.
I would dare to say that it's because in Japan you're kind of more free to express yourself. Um, of course, in America you can express yourself in any way you want, but in Japan they have some special feeling for art.
Yeah,
It's just
it's kind of like their
something.
outlet almost for their feelings. Art is almost like kind of like their outlet for because they typically do like bottle up their emotions inside. A lot of the time it's just kind of in their culture to like to not rock the boat and to just kind of like get along with everybody. And so when they do need to express their feelings, anime and manga and art in general is like a very common outlet for them. It seems like, and that's why I feel like that could be one of the reasons why Japanese media is so potent is because like they have that's a lot of creators' way of expressing their feelings um, and expressing their deep thoughts and having other people read them and relate. There could be something to that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's also kind of in their history to. If you read Japanese history, there's always like art in a way. And why the fuck would me and Sonic and you viewers right now um think like even mention anything from Japan right now? It speaks to people. It speaks to people, and there's definitely something about Japan. There is something about it.
Yeah, it's a
We
special
can't.
place, and people all over the world agree. Like Japan is almost sacred in a sense now. It has like a its own unique identity, its own unique personality. Um, Unlike anything else in the world, really. I mean, South Korea is starting to like make a name for itself with its own like K-dramas and stuff like that. Um, and I mean, I know some people that like those a lot, but it's just a little bit different. It's not quite the same. Um, and I don't know. There's just a very unique special charm to Japanese media in general that and especially because like, they they kind of they made their identity known that way very early on after they opened up to the rest of the world. It's kind of like they were bottling all this creativity up inside, and then once they had to open it up, it all just kind of came bursting forth, almost in a sense. I don't know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You're right. I was trying to say, you have me and Sonic right now, on the podcast, and there's definitely a reason we decided to learn Japanese because we don't have anybody in Japan. We are not physically connected to Japan. We decided to take the language and learn it, and there's a reason for it.
Yeah, definitely. There is a reason.
And all of these shows we mentioned, I mentioned Kickers. We didn't even get to talk about One Piece, but One Piece is probably the best piece of art
Mm.
right now.
Well, yeah,
One
I mean,
Piece.
it's been going on for a long time, and it just keeps getting better. Just keeps getting better with each. It's almost
Yeah,
like the opposite effect that a lot of series have, where like a lot of people or a lot of series start out strong. You know, they have a very clear identity, a very clear direction that they want to go in, and they know what they want to do, and then like they're kind of just forced to make more sequels and spin-offs after that, you know, and then it kind of gets diluted and like they just kind of fall into a formula. With One Piece, it's almost the opposite. It's like he didn't really know what he was doing at first, and so he made it entertaining as he could, but then he kind of like got better at writing and he got better and better and better and like now he's like a master and he's just keep continuing to surprise people with new and interesting stuff and new twists and like it's just phenomenal, you know. So One Piece is definitely you know, it's almost an anomaly among itself. Yeah, look, I think Eiichiro Oda is up there with Shakespeare now, with as many copies as he sold across the world, like in relation to the people that he had access to at the time.
anybody who's listening to me, um, One Piece, One Piece
Yeah,
is a piece of art,
it is.
and everything about it is brilliant. Everything from the first chapter. I I can't even put my feelings into words when I'm talking about One Piece because I'm not the biggest fanboy of One Piece, but I respect it so much. I respect One Piece so much. You have no fucking idea how much I respect One Piece.
Mm, it is so good,
It,
and it's it makes you feel all sorts of ways. Makes you feel really and it touches you on deep emotional levels at a lot of points. Makes you feel for all the characters. Um,
People probably listened to this before, but Oda thought about One Piece before he started writing it. For even like 10 years, he was thinking about stuff like One Piece. And it shows. And it shows in fucking every chapter of One Piece.
it does. Yeah, yeah. He had a clear intention in mind from the moment he put pencil to paper, and he just kept going with it. And it's his life's work, and it's what he's always wanted to do, and that's really beautiful. You know that he's continued to work as hard as he has, and like just continued to make his intentions clear. You know, it used to be back in the day that like nobody knew about One Piece. Like when I was in high school, like, you know, everybody knew about Naruto and Bleach, but One Piece was just kind of like, what is that? You know, but now it's like the anime. It's like the anime. So it kind of has held the test of time, is what I'm getting at. It's kind of like, you know, people are realizing now how amazing it is. You know, when um, back in my day, back when I was a youngster, uh, nobody knew about it, and I was kind of the weird one for liking it. You know?
Yeah, and you mentioned Naruto,
Yeah.
which is also great. Um,
That one kind
difference
of is
between
is more like it's good at the start and then progressively like it kind of fades away, in my opinion.
yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Um, One Piece progressively gets better over the time as you're reading it, but Naruto kind of starts great and starts sucking. But still, you gotta love Naruto. I mean,
It's an OG.
you just What?
It's an OG. I guess that's too that's slang, like original gangster or something.
It it
It's a
it
classic essentially is what I'm trying to get at.
yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah. It is a classic, definitely. And it's gonna sound a little bit touchy or whatever. I don't even know the word, but Naruto, even in the past, it grew on you. It's still. I don't know, Sonic. You have to help me out. I was
Uh,
just trying to say.
I don't. What are you? You're getting at like it grows on you. Okay, so you didn't like it at first, but you're saying that uh, like the more that you're introduced to it and the more that you read it, the more you like it, the type of thing.
Trying to say that I have to answer yeah right now. He asks me is if I'm alright. Yes, I'm alright. I'm just having these memories of my childhood
Hmm.
animes,
Yeah, it's kind of
and
it's kind of like talking about all this has gotten you like kind of reminiscing and like wishing for those times again in some sense.
yeah, I'm also trying to protect all of these ideas. Even though if they don't deserve to have some protection, in a way, I have to try to protect them because I'm so much invested into them from my childhood. And if I didn't watch One Piece and Naruto and stuff like that, there wouldn't be a Japanese translator for the stuff I did.
Right. Yeah, no, they are they're sacred in your mind, you know? They're like sacred relics of like um your history, your past, your the way you grew up. So, it is emotional talking about them, for sure.
Yeah, and the problem I have is that I can't convince people to like this stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like your own personal experience, right? And it's kind of like the way that you grew up, and it's hard to put into words why something means so much to you. Like with me and Kingdom Hearts, it's like, Kingdom Hearts meant so much to me, and I tried to explain to you like why it was so important to me to like that I grew up with Kingdom Hearts. Um, and it's hard to put into words. It's just kind of something that's so special in your heart. It's something that's so special in your mind that like there's no need to really justify or explain yourself. It's just kind of like this is something that's very important to you, something that's really that you grew up with, and that's important in your psyche. You know, so yeah, I mean, it's I mean, you can try and explain like the like psychological concepts that you like or the lessons that you learned or like the way that it made you feel and stuff like that if you want um but you don't even have to like just the fact that it means so much to you like just saying that is enough, I would say. I can't wait for the continuation of Bleach. Did you know Bleach is getting continued?
I did know. By the way, why it's so like why we have like breaks between our conversation? It's because we never planned to have this kind of episode.
Yeah, it's kind of off the cuff. I mean, uh, I don't know. This correct me if I'm wrong, but this seems like it's been kind of a emotional episode for you.
For me, it was especially about talking about Aki because I never get to talk about Aki, and most people ignore that manga. Um, and especially remembering the anime in German when I was a kid, and getting home. And this is also a true story. After every night, Dragon Ball Z was at 7 p.m. and after it finished at 7:20, 7:30, me and my best friend would call each other and talk for 2 hours about the episode.
Oh wow.
Uh, yeah, I never had any kind of idea that we would be so close tonight, but it just comes out. And yeah, I mean, we could just talk about Mukobuchi. We could talk about some. We could talk about Naki no Ryu, but this is just us. This is who we
Yeah,
are. And
it's kind of like showing people like that this is who we are, and like letting them know a little bit more about us, um, and about, our history and stuff. I feel like, well, hopefully it was insightful to, some people to like, hear about like how we grew up, like the ways, the kinds of things that got us into Japanese in the first place, and stuff like that.
yeah, I was afraid of this episode, to be honest.
Were you?
Yeah, because we didn't have like a concrete like topic. It
Right.
was,
We kind of just rambled about like video games and stuff for a while. I didn't even get to one outs. Um,
and I had this like stupid thought about asking you to just like put it off, but it wouldn't work. It has to be on Saturday. We
right.
made it. We made it 5 times on Saturday. The sixth time it's gonna be on Saturday. Um, so I had this stupid idea where I thought just just postpone it
Well,
for.
yeah, I'm gonna stop you right there because like there's no sense in postponing it, right? Like we have to do this like every week, and like um and we're going to be doing like we were talking about how you were going to like talk say remind people every like 30 minutes how next week is going to be Kirinji, right? And I don't think we've mentioned it once, have we? That next week is going to be Kirinji. Maybe we mentioned it like once at the start or something, but essentially what this
So much
is,
to say about. We didn't mention Kirinji.
well, yeah, just the fact that we're going to be doing it next week is all I was saying.
Yeah, the next episode is gonna be Tetsunaki no Kirinji, and I I have a lot to say about it.
Yeah. And I'm going to read the first part so that I also have some stuff to say about it.
Yeah, and that's gonna be definitely interesting. And I can't understand why we have watchers right now. Like, what's fun
Uh,
about us?
no, I
Well,
mean the I think the fact that that we're being genuine and we're being honest is and we're letting people know like what we're like is in some sense um interesting to people, you know. A podcast doesn't have to be, talking about interesting stuff all the time and breaking down like um, various news events and all this. It can also just be like moments, like episodes like this, where we're just, talking about what we like and, um, getting or letting people get to know us a little bit, stuff like that. Um, I don't know if
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know if
yeah,
it's going to like, you know, be tremendously interesting to a lot of people, but I would say that, it's not a bad thing that we did this today.
yeah. I wouldn't say it as well. I'm kind of proud and happy because we didn't plan anything at all. We had
Yeah,
no topics to talk about.
nothing at all.
We we mentioned a little bit of like lie, like a little bit of like lie eater, like usugui,
Yeah.
but it's it's been already like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and somehow it worked. So
Yeah, I mean, we just have a way of just talking and I don't know, going back and forth and going from one topic to another. Went from everything from Naruto to freaking Makobuchi to Final Fantasy to Cute Boy Swimming, all in two hours.
you tell me about cute boys.
It's oh, you want me to? No, I won't. I do remember the ending though. I could sing the ending. I won't though. The ending theme song.
I'm just surprised because I think last Saturday we did a very good job with Kurosawa and wrapping up Kaiji, but we didn't have a lot of views. And today, just rambling about random shit, Final Fantasy, tennis manga and stuff. For some reason, people are watching it, so I'm just surprised.
Mm.
Um,
Could be anything. You never know. I mean, I feel like the honesty and the back and forth is just. It's not like it's not like this is like a crazy. I would say this is like normal. This is like a normal amount of viewers. Like, let's not even worry about it. We just talked about what we wanted to talk about. And next week we'll continue to talk about what we want to talk about, and uh, hopefully it's interesting to people. And don't have to think about it any more than that.
yeah, I'm just thinking too much into it. It's I don't know if it's a bad thing to think too much into stuff.
It's gotten me into trouble recently. I do the same thing. I do the exact same thing. I like overthink stuff, and like there's been incidents at work where I've like just something has happened, or I've done something and then I've thought it was like a bigger deal than it was, and I've just driven myself crazy thinking about it, and then I go into the work and nobody cares. It is damaging to your mental well-being to like think too much about stuff. Hey, you ought to
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the or go ahead, sorry.
yeah. I like the Kurosawa
Yeah,
episode,
you were gonna
and
say that too. Okay. Yeah. He liked it, so
it's my favorite episode. Not because we cried at the end. Not because of that. It's because more because of just getting into every detail of the story, and we talked about everything. Like there's not a single moment about Kurosawa we didn't mention, and that's what I like.
yeah,
We went into everything.
that was cool. I always like those extracting like the meaning out of stories and like trying to like figure out the author's intent and stuff like that. That's fun for me. So I don't know. Maybe next week we'll get some insight into Kirinji. Maybe I'll have something interesting to say that you didn't think about.
I
Uh,
have so much to say about cringy. Don't worry.
okay. You'll just carry the whole
Um,
episode. I'll just be there.
you have to read the
Yeah.
42 chapters of the
No,
first
I
part.
will. I will. But no, I'll have stuff to say. I will.
Yeah, you need because I don't want to have a monologue in the fucking. Um,
Yeah.
you need to discuss stuff with me.
Of course. Yeah.
We
That goes without saying, Rinshan. Don't worry. I will.
we even talked about the avatars we have.
Oh, you never. Yeah, you never mentioned yours though. I talked about Mizuhara Yuta, but you never talked about Simon.
I'm gonna be. I'm trying to gonna be brief. I choose Simon or Shimon because he came out of the dirt, and
Hmm.
I'm kind of similar. I'm in the fucking dirt. He's digging holes, and he gets to fucking destroy the. Ho-
Hmm.
he fucking gets to fight the fucking threat of the universe from the hole he was digging, and I kinda wish I was him. I kinda want to be him, and he's my he's the character I want to be because he's so pure. He's so fucking fighting the fighting the
He's a
enemies of
fighter. Yeah. Yeah. He pulled himself up. And rose to take the challenge. Like he started at the bottom of the heap and rose up to challenge the forces of evil. Or well, not evil. We don't. That's a contentious topic for us, but forces of forces that were threatening him. We'll just say that.
Kamina punches him and says, "Listen, you need to believe in yourself." And these words are always echoing in my head. Like, you need to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Because I'm not. Because I'm kind of failing in that kind of
Mm,
regard.
I
I'm
see.
not really believing in myself. But when I hear Kamina say to Shimon, and just when I remember all of those Tengen Toppa Uren Lagan moments, I can't help myself. I and his and I can't.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. Yeah. It's just believing in yourself, never giving up, and I'm sure there's more to it than just that, but yeah,
Yeah,
he sounds like a cool character for sure.
because for me it always felt like um, I'm the boy who was
Are
like
you okay,
thinking.
man? I'm sorry.
I,
It just seems like today has been really. I don't know. It just seems like you're especially upset today. Well, whatever. I'll we can. I don't know. I'm sorry.
I'm, I'm not
I
I'm
shouldn't have said
not
that. But
upset, but
well,
I'm
we
not upset. But when I remember the episode, I mean, he's literally digging dirt, and I feel the same way. I feel like I'm digging dirt right now in my life, and he made it out, and it's inspirational. And
yeah. Yeah, and you can too. I mean, you if you keep that mindset up, if you keep your mindset of like never giving up and like, just pulling yourself out, like finding ways, just doing whatever it takes to survive. Like it can happen, you know.
Yeah, because he had a Kamina. I don't have a Kamina right now, but
Kamina is like the heroine of the story.
Kamina is the guy who's inspirational,
Oh,
telling him to believe in himself. I don't have anybody in my life like that right now.
you have
But
me.
just yeah, you I have you. And thank you for that. But it's just the story about a boy digging holes and fighting in the fucking galaxy against.
Yeah, it's a big concept. It's a big ridiculous manga, but you know the themes are very personal.
Yeah, and for a time, this is something nobody heard before. When I was younger, I was going to the swimming pool every day to swim and to work on my like physical body. And going home, going, going, going home every day from that swimming, I was singing the ending of Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann.
Yeah.
Kimi wa kikoeru, and it it's why my avatar. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Do you wanna end the stream and we could talk about this some more?
Yeah, I mean it was like 2.5 hours. If you wanna end the stream, we can just end it and we can continue in the Discord.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. Um, yeah, I mean, so this was like a very emotional episode. It kind of just, you know, the fact that like we were talking about like childhood concepts and yeah, that Aki manga that you brought up probably brought up a lot of emotions for you. Um, so yeah, we didn't intend for it to turn out this way. I mean, hopefully you guys got some insight and um, got
I
to
wanted
learn
to
a few
talk about.
things. Oh,
Yeah, I want to talk about.
you want to talk about
I
something
want.
else?
No, I want to talk about Dragon Ball
Oh,
because Dragon Ball is the reason I got into Japanese stuff.
well, we already talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fine. It's we managed to have 2.5 hours. I'm already like proud of us. Next episode, Tetsunaki no Kirinji. You will get some inside info from me.
Yes, he knows it intimately, as he should. So, that will be a sight to see, and like I will do my best to catch up. And I mean, I remember a lot. I remember a little bit about it. Um, but it'll be interesting to read it again and see what I missed. And
Yeah,
we'll
we
hopefully have some back and forth about that. So
yeah. I'm still proud of this episode because we managed to talk for 2.5 hours about basically nothing.
yeah, nothing. Yeah, yeah. It was a show about nothing, like Seinfeld.
Sein-
Yeah.
Seinfeld, Seinfeld. I gotta mention Seinfeld. There's Persona 4 Seinfeld parody. Okay, no, there's not. Never mind.
Yeah.
Because I enjoyed so much when I watch Seinfeld in the view of Persona 4. But as I said, it doesn't exist. Don't look it up.
It's yeah. It's dead to you.
guys, nothing was planned. It was all very spontaneous. Um, thank you a million times for listening to us. Next week, next Saturday, you will get your insight into the Kirinji manga. This night, we just. It's just like a buffer between.
Yeah, this was like a filler episode, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like a filler. So, anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you a lot. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Seriously, no joke. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thanks to everybody. Thank you for listening, and uh, check out Rinshan's Patreon if you want. Um, I don't know if I even should have said that, but I felt like I don't know. I wanted to. Felt like it would be good.
It it, it
I-
was fine.
yeah, it's kind of like because you don't want me to explain all your situation to people, and I think I kind of am understanding why. I'm not gonna say anymore, but uh, whatever. That's enough. That's today's episode. All right, I'll see y'all. I'll see you later. Uh,
Yeah,
thanks for
thank you
watching.
for listening. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
All right, catch you later.